Before we talk about, your career, I keep hearing that you are the trainer of Big Ramy, man. You taking over the process. Is that true?
I'm coaching him on his training and his posing, and I'm actually working with the whole team of Oxygen. I'm doing posing for everybody. But Ramy is my biggest focus, being that I'm doing his exclusive training and posing.
Why did they want you to do it?
I think he wanted to try different aspects. He wanted to try the different American gurus or people that's been working with top professionals for years. I was seeing him because I was actually doing his posing last year. Mm-hmm. And, it's a process for him to get better at all these different aspects. But what I was seeing, he was in his 290s and he was shredded. Glutes were in, he had feathers in his quads. Mm-hmm. Everything was looking great. I thought he was going to be a big challenge for the title. I went on record saying so. I didn't see him the last 2 weeks at all. From that time to that show, he changed dramatically. He went flat. Everyone knew he was flat from what they've been accustomed to. I think this year they'll get the Ramy that they didn't get a chance to see exactly. Because even when he filled out for the shows, it still wasn't exactly what it could have been. I think he looked better as he filled up at the other shows where he actually, beat Dexter in the one in Kuwait. This year is going to be a lot different. And I think we're going to get a lot out of his physique.
Specifically at the Olympia, he's been progressing every year. He got the 8th place, then he got, I think, the 6th, and then last year he was 4th place. And yet people say, we still haven't seen his full potential.
Yeah, he's getting better. Now I'm thinking what we can use is more separation, more development in certain areas of his body, mm-hmm. certain muscle groups. Mm-hmm. I think they see what's coming. It just haven't surfaced yet. But like I said, I think this year is going to be a lot different. During this time, it's Ramadan's. Everyone knows for a fact he's a very religious guy. So the photo that you've seen, he's still been able to gain 10 pounds with only eating 3 meals a day.
He's also coming off an injury as well, right?
Yeah, hurt his leg, and he wasn't able to train. But he's back full force, and we got him. Everything's great with his body as far as mechanics or no muscle groups injured or anything like that. And he's having we changed his training some to where it's not as crazy heavy, not like hurting his muscle groups or his ligaments. Nothing's mm-hmm. being strained like that. I think he's going to be his best look ever this year.
Have you ever heard people comparing Big Ramy to Paul Dillette, where Paul Dillette, had some of the most amazing genetics, but he never really proved himself? And some people say Ramy might end up not showing his full potential. Have you ever heard that comparison?
Not exactly, but I know for a fact he's going to definitely shock people this year. I mean, you got to know the person. You got to know how much this means to him to be the best that he can be, the best Ramy. It means a lot to him. I could see even when we just was posing last year, I've seen so much already that a lot of people haven't seen. There's nothing else going to happen with greatness. I see it. And I've been around all these guys. I've been around everyone in the history of this era. I've seen them all, and it's shocking to me to see.
Let's talk about your career for a second. To me, if you really look at the stats, I mean, you were one of the most fiercest competitors out there. You went through some battles in your career.
Yeah, for sure.
You were Arnold Classic 2nd time, placement 5 times in a row. Olympia,
yeah, 6.
6 times. Oh shit! And Olympia 3rd time, yeah. and also in the 90s, man, where you were competing against arguably the top people of all time, man. You're talking about Ronnie Coleman, Flex Wheeler, Kevin Levrone, and Sean Ray, and everybody else, man. So you were out there, man.
Right. Yeah. It was great because it's exactly what I set out for from the day that I decided to compete. I wanted to compete with the best, and I wanted to make a name for myself in the sport as far as I wanted to put my stamp on it. People know I really did this to the fullest. Why
did you want to become a bodybuilder in the first place? Why did you want to choose that specific sport?
One of my teachers thought I should try bodybuilding because she looked at my body, and I guess, in the classroom, I don't know if that's appropriate these years, but she said these days, but she said that she thought I have a good build and I should probably try bodybuilding. At the time, they had bodybuilding on television, so you'd see, the likes of Lee Haney on Wild World Sports, training for, competing in Mr. Olympia. And it was quite a few programs at the time. Yeah, it was, I got hooked when I went to the first show and I seen the people on stage. The only problem was I was kind of shy in nature, so it took me another year to actually get on the stage, but I went to go and watch it, and I was like, man, I think I could do this.
It's interesting you mentioned that back then they used to show Olympia on TV, right? Arnold Classic too. I mean, it was more respected on actual, like, mainstream television. Do you think those channels dropped the competitions because of the whole steroid controversy?
I'm not even sure exactly the reasons why. I missed it. I know I loved every minute.
How do you feel about the industry right now?
I think it's flashes of the younger guys are coming on pretty strong. A lot of young potential. I just like to see it get better with having just like the condition that the athletes think is actually conditioning. It can progress in a better way, or did it degress as far as development and hard, dense muscle. And the posing, man, needs to improve. But like I always tell people, like, get help from someone that really can help you. Pay what you got to pay, do what you got to do, but don't just think you can look at YouTube or something like that.
Did your friends and family, when you got into bodybuilding, did they understand the sport, or did they look at it kind of funny?
My mom was one of my biggest supporters. Rest in peace. She wanted me to venture out, go to Los Angeles, go to Venice, take trips there. When I was in high school, I'd drive to Venice and just go and look at the bodybuilders from the gate, go back with a lot of enthusiasm for a whole another month and come back and do it again. Then I just start going there more and more, and it's like my mom just looked at me one day and said, "Chris, you need to go and be there where you can be the best you can be." And she was like my first sponsor to, help me with money every month, and she wanted me to focus fully on bodybuilding.
You came up in Venice, right? At Gold's Gym, right?
I felt like that was the best guys that I could be around that I would be able to up my game. Because I thought I was good, but then, I got there and people like, Flex and Rico. Flex and Rico was my training partners. I remember the day he was like, "Yeah, you have a good back, but you have no thickness whatsoever. So you got to figure out how to make it thick." And at the time, I was like shocked to hear that. It's just little stuff like that, either posing or conditioning or something like that. We always kept each other in check, like just like good brothers should.
Was it a positive, or was it like maybe intimidating because everybody was competing over
it? It's what I needed, because I wanted to see my competitors training. I wanted to see how hard they were training or how lax they were training. And it was easy to gauge where I was going to place or whatever, just because you had to get 5, 10, 15 different competitors under one roof. We faced off a few times, even me and Flex, in a gym about different times of our career. When we went to the stage, we have like big groups of supporters for him, big groups of supporters for myself. It was great. It was great times for bodybuilding.
Now, last year, Kevin Levrone made a comeback. This year, Flex Wheeler is coming back in the classic physique division, so it creates some excitement, right? Now, how do you feel about those two comebacks, and also have you gotten the urge to do something similar and maybe compete again?
In actuality, they just continued their journey on. I think it was awesome that Kevin did what he did, and it boosted everything up for him, business-wise, his own personal hunger to. I think it's the same as going for Flex. It was good to see some of his muscles coming back that was dormant over the years. I got some injuries I sustained, wear and tear. I think if those weren't there, it'd be a lot easier to entertain that idea. But I do have the urge to get a better appearance. It's hard to just not look at yourself not doing that type of thing, just mentally, If it ever goes from there and can actually, do more, then, that'd be something to look at. But you got to get a hold of whatever it is. You can't have any thoughts of not going for it when you train because you're trying to not get hurt. But I've been pumping weight a lot of years, 35 plus years. And you do get certain things like, your heart's got to be in good condition, all that stuff. But I know I did a lot of pumping in my day.
Now, you retired because you had, from what I understand, it was a spinal either infection or an injury, right?
And I didn't actually really retire. I never went out on the stage and said, "Hey, I'm retired." I'm not really like a quitter like that. But I just kind of just faded away, But, I had an infection in my spine. I was preparing for the Olympia. I was on my way to go train with Dorian Yates. I was like 295 pounds, and I was lean. I had, good abs at that time. And I was looking to come in around, close to around 265, and I thought that was going to be like the year I was going to win the whole thing. And I'm pretty sure I would have done so if I would have made it to the stage, but I ended up in the hospital. So, I was paralyzed basically, and I wasn't able to do anything but just lay there in a body cast. So, yeah, it was a traumatic time.
It's not a healthy sport when you're a pro. You know what I'm saying?
It's risky business. Can't really complain when you know what you signed up for.
After that incident and kind of like a long recovery, and you stopped competing, obviously, what went on in your life after that? I mean, how do you sustain yourself after that?
Actually, I didn't want that to beat me and be my last time on the stage. I actually came back and competed 2 more times. I came back and I did the show, and I placed disappointing fourth. I did one more show after that in New Jersey, and that was the last time I competed.
What did you start doing?
Meeting after, I did nothing. Just like kind of licking my wounds and thinking like, what happened? It takes a long while to come back down out of that bubble. I call it a bubble because you think a certain way when you're competing like that. It just took some time to just sit there and think, like, what am I going to do? What am I good at doing? What do I love doing? I still love to compete. I love the anticipation of the competition and people getting ready. I still wanted to be involved, so I started training people on all aspects of the sport. Everything involves the gym, and everything involves preparation, the mindset, all the different things that I based my whole life off of. So it was easy to come to that conclusion. So I've been in the gym like most of my life. I'm comfortable there. When I was taken away from the gym a little bit, I couldn't wait to get back in the gym just to, they have that different rubber type smell. They have that clanking of the weights. I kind of missed that at one period of my life, and I know I don't want to be away from it. I kind of need that.